we'll start off with this homework. And Jeff, you and I both had said we were going to listen to the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill.
Mm-hmm.
And I have some thoughts, but I'm interested in yours because you did listen to some other stuff. I really only listened to the one, so I was a little light on the homework this week.
I wish to go last.
Oh, okay,
Today.
all right. Well then you know what? I'll go with Seb because Seb, you were going to try to get through the whole catalog. You said.
Yeah, I got through. I didn't get to the pros stuff because
Okay.
nobody cares about.
Well, and isn't he kind of like persona non grata these days or something?
He's in prison.
Yeah. He's in prison.
Oh, is he?
He's
Okay.
in prison for 14 years now.
He's in prison.
Yeah.
Nice. Well played.
Oh.
He's probably going to spend the whole time there, but they're trying to appeal. So we'll see what happens. But a little bit of potential, not quite espionage, but he's maybe working with some foreign
He's in big boy federal prison.
Different kind of trouble than the guy from my favorite band is in, which maybe we'll get to someday.
Don't even know who you're.
The guy from Moxie Frivus.
Oh right, yeah.
Jeff's just like who? What?
Yeah. We may never get to it, so if we do, we'll talk about it then.
We should make it a running joke that we're going to talk about it next week.
Yeah, like Lindsey
Buckingham. Like Norm Macdonald on Letterman when he had 5 days in a row.
Yeah. So I mean, Seb, you were already a huge fan, right? Was it all confirmed?
Oh, absolutely. So I listened to the first Fugees album, which I haven't listened to in probably more than a decade, and didn't love it. It was it's one of those albums where you can tell it's sort of their first effort out. They didn't really have the sound, but then I listened to the score after, and the score I think was the third CD that I've ever owned, and it's the second Fugees album, and it's their last real album, and that was still start to finish fantastic. So
and that one's got Ready or Not, Killing Me Softly, No Woman No
Fuji
Cry.
La, yeah.
Okay.
It's got a ton of stuff. No Woman No Cry is phenomenal cover as well.
Yeah, I love that. I love that cover.
Yeah,
and Killing Me Softly too, like one time.
Yeah, the Killing Me Softly, that's like a whole different episode, that history of that song and all of the shenanigans that went on with it.
And yeah, that is a subject we're going to tackle at some point, and maybe today, but probably not.
Maybe today.
Yeah. And then I listened to Carnival, which is Wyclef's solo album, and then I don't want to step on Dirty Dan's toes because I know that you listened to the other one as well, so I listened to that. And I will reiterate here, you mentioned it last week, Wyclef is the absolute king of the duet. Just so many different songs with collaborating with other artists. Phenomenal. Love that guy.
So they only had what, three studio albums, the Fugees?
I think technically two.
Two Blunted on Reality and The Score. Okay. Yeah, because then they had a greatest hits album, and they had something called bootleg version. So but of course they had they both obviously Wyclef went on to have this very successful duet career, and and Lauryn Hill did one and done. Just got in, got out, and she's a legend.
I think that she classifies as a legend now because she's almost, not to be morbid, but like the 27 Club, where you burn bright when you're young, because her stuff with the Fugees, she was early 20s, and then Miseducation was maybe 23 or 24. And then she
was that young. Wow.
Yeah, she's so young when it came out, and then then just
I remember. And I'll get into my thoughts on the album in a bit. I want to hear from Dan first, but I remember when that album came out, and it was, before it was even released, people were like lauding it. And I was doing this thing at the time. Billboard had this, it was like a game that you could play, almost like a sports pool, where you picked albums and you got points based on how they did. And I remember picking Miseducation of Lauryn Hill as one of my picks, and it got me a lot of points. So it was, because I was following up, and I never actually bothered listening to the album at the time. But yeah, I kind of always remember that. But Dan, so what was the one you listened to?
I listened to the eclectic Two Sides to a Book from Wycliffe. That had a lot of good collaborations on it, like Seb said. You had Kenny Rogers on there. The Rock, doesn't matter.
Kenny.
Obviously.
Oh wow, yeah,
Yeah,
it doesn't
yeah,
matter. Oh wow,
yeah, doesn't
and that was
matter.
also on that one of the WWE albums too,
Yep.
wasn't it?
Yeah, it certainly was. Yeah, Mary J. Blige was on there. Who else was on here? Whitney Houston. I'm just looking in front of me because I always forget who was on there. Whitney Houston was, and Earth, Wind, and Fire as well. But the funny thing is, I didn't feel like these were really collaborations more than he was just sampling some stuff from them and just kind of like going into his own little thing right after that. But I think one of the songs I kind of got a little bit like, because it sounded like he was making fun of the fact that he did something with Whitney Houston, and I'm like, why is he making fun of this? It sounds like I feel like he's making fun of this and he shouldn't be. So I don't know. I just maybe I misinterpreted it. But after that, I went, this morning I did Ghetto Superstar by Praz, and Hallelujah's on there, which was great. I like that. Amazing Grace was on there. That was great. And obviously Ghetto Superstar, but everything else on there was just skip it. Just skip
I like Ghetto
That's it.
Superstar. I
Yeah.
I prefer
Yeah, it
that
was
version
okay.
to like the original.
Yeah.
Like
Just-
that. It's
yeah.
like
But just the
samples,
rest
I
of it,
guess.
just skip,
To
just skip.
Islands in the Stream?
Yeah.
Okay.
Speaking of Kenny Rogers,
But
Yeah.
I think we all might need a drink before Jeff gives us some thoughts here.
so I listened to Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, and as I said, I'd never listened to that album before, and I was blown away. Like my initial thought as I'm listening was that it feels like a preview of like the next 25 years of music. And people talk about her as an influence and everything, and I didn't really get it until like I listened to this album. And there was two artists, one male, one female, that totally I thought, man, they like completely borrowed from this, if not outright stole. And one of them is like one of the most successful people going to this day. The other one was like super hot about 10 years ago and still around, but not quite as big. And I'm curious if you guys know who I'm talking about, because I assume you've all listened to the album. Maybe Dan, maybe you haven't. Obviously Seb has, and Jeff just listened to it. You got any idea who I'm talking about? When I say that they used her as an influence, and then when I looked it up, I found out they both cite her as a major influence.
They cite Lauryn Hill as an influence?
Yes, and specifically that album. Well, obviously, it's her only album, but
every young R&B artist that's out there that's female, pretty much.
Well, I mean, there is that. I mean, and I heard a little bit of everything. I heard some Pink. I heard some. I
assume Beyonce is one of them.
No, because they're more contemporary, almost, right? Like Destiny's Child was around the same time as the Fugees, weren't they? Seb, you know.
Yeah, Destiny's Child's been around for.
So
a couple
male
years after they broke through. Yeah.
The male is Drake.
Huh.
Drake's stuff is so similar, like the rhyming patterns, the music in the background, and I think it's the second or third track on the album. I'm trying to I had the album up here. Hang on. Track listing. Where is it here? X Factor. That there's a Drake song that it's almost like a cover. It's not, but it's like it's so similar. And then the other artist was Alicia Keys. That I hear like so much in the way she sings, the themes to what she's singing about, and just the diversity, like but diverse, but yet like because this album was so different. Like it's not like the same song 16 times or whatever. Like they were all different, and I really loved it. I loved Everything Is Everything. Can't Take My Eyes Off You is a favorite. I love the original of that, and then I love her take on it as well. X Factor, I loved. Superstar, I just loved it, and I will definitely. I think I'm going to buy the vinyl, and it'll be in my regular rotation of albums I listen to going forward. So for the contrarian take on Fugees music, we go to Mr. Jeff.
I wouldn't say it's necessarily contrarian, because I think both the score and the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill are both fantastically produced albums.
Okay.
I do. I think, and they're great. I also listen to Blunted Reality, and actually, is gonna kill Seb. I think my favorite song by them is the original Nappy Heads, but it's because it sounds so much like Onyx and the Foo Schnickens, who I both love. And even the producer of Blunted Reality says I made them sound too much like Onyx, and I think that was one of the problems here. I mean, like, Lauryn Hill doesn't sing a single note on that album. But my problem with the Fugees and Lauryn Hill is that I can't separate the art from the artist. Mm-hmm. And I find them all to be grifting scumbags in some way.
Wow.
Wow, that's brutal.
If you're going to live by the socially conscious stuff, you can't set up foundations and steal millions from them. You can't not pay your taxes. You can't. And look, my salad days in entertainment were right when they were hot. And you heard stories of restaurants that, hey, we need to be comped because we're the Fugees, those types of things. I'm a big fan of Robert Glasper, the jazz pianist. Has anybody listened to that interview about him working with Lauryn Hill? Because it's all true. Mm-hmm. Now let me get into it. There's a lot of pro wrestling in showbiz, and you have to be able to delineate whether or not it's them, their people, or the media. And I think my initial refusal to listen to anything but that which was on radio, and God knows Killing Me Softly was on every half hour on the half hour when I was in Los Angeles, was some of the media stuff that was said about the Fugees, where you listen to them and you go, they're great, but I don't hear that kind of depth. I mean, they were comparing them politically to like Public Enemy and KRS-One in terms of, their social consciousness. And that's true for Blunted Reality, but not just, the score is a pop album in many ways.
Wyclef is like, aside from the music, I mean, his
yes,
actually
outside
like
of his
a social
stuff,
activist, right?
But they're talking about the review of the album.
Okay.
And I'll give you an example. Matthew Ishmael Ruiz of Pitchfork noted that the group had removed negative connotations of Haitian immigration and the word refugee, stating that, quote, the Fugees managed to diversify the voice of the ghetto, one often depicted in a single dimension. They reclaimed pride for Haitians worldwide, a heritage maligned for its post-colonial poverty and strife, but still remembered as the setting for the New World's first successful revolt of enslaved people against their oppressors. Their sound was multifaceted because they were their musical diverse, just like the Black experience. When they call the Fugees the voice of the ghetto, they forget that 2 of the 3 of them were Ivy League students at the time.
I have a shorter review. It's got a good beat and you can dance to it.
That's mine too, Paul. The Ringer noted that the Fugees delivered political messages and brought hip-hop to the mainstream in their music by blending elements of pop, soul, dancehall, and Caribbean music, making it more palatable for the wider audience without making the message dense, stating, quote, the Fugees disguised resistance as art, the same way that enslaved Africans once hid martial arts from their colonial masters by pretending that they were a dance.
Seb, I would be remiss if I didn't give you. So, do you fall more on the side of, yeah, they had some good tunes, or more on, is it more like the descriptions that Jeff is somewhat mocking of their importance to the world at large?
I've always heard that Lauryn Hill is a terrible person as well. So
yes!
I've got nothing good to say about
we're going to go into that, by the way.
But Wyclef, I think, especially, the past 20 years, he's had a lot of political messages in his songs. And,
yes.
Songs like Gone Till November and If I Was President.
But this is talking about the score.
Yeah, no, I agree. The score doesn't really... The score is a cohesive album and story and awesome to listen to. I don't think that it's a revolutionary piece of political activism.
Do you think they even intended it to be, or do you think critics are reading too much into it?
I think they were just a bunch of kids trying to make music.
Okay. Yeah. So, and I do think that happens sometimes. I've heard that. I feel kind of the same about Green Day.
I
in
was just
some
gonna say
ways.
Green Day. Paul, you just stole the words right out of my mouth. Green Day's the same exact way, and they still
Yes.
do that today too. To just to make it like they want to stay popular and want to stay with the crowd and whatnot. They send all these political messages, and they don't have to. And it's just like you know what? And I don't know. It gets popularity with them, and just comes back. And some people hate it, some people love it. Some
Yeah.
people are just like, yeah, it's like it depends which side of the fence you fall on.
Yeah, I just don't like feeling bad when I'm like, I'm not hearing any of that in Killing Me Softly, guys. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
what you can say is that like the take that they did on it, and you can, and I would say the same thing to Can't Take My Eyes Off You. They are using their own experiences, or maybe experiences that people might think they've had, even though they maybe
Okay.
actually didn't have them. Um, given you're talking
Well,
about being an Ivy League student,
well,
but
no,
but
no,
you
no.
know, like bringing a different, like an
allow me,
urban take to it.
allow me to get to my next point, because this
Okay.
goes very much into how was the score so night and day from Blunted Reality? And this is where I'm not sure whether or not to believe the story that they tell or another story, because the story is Blunted Reality was hampered by radio by not radio but by record company executives, and it wasn't really their album, and they had a much more relaxed pace on this one, and they were given this money because of the remix of Nappy Heads by, I forget the producer's name, and they could take their time and do what was really their album. And that doesn't jive with reality with me, because to me, when a record company signs a group, that first album is the group's vision. They just have to learn how to put it down on wax in the studio and do takes and things like that. Now, my theory here is they went into the studio in 1995. Summer to fall, I believe, is what it was. And there was a big hit in summer of 1995. It was by Mary J. Blige and Method Man, called "You're All I Need," where Mary J. Blige is singing "You're All I Need to Get by
Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell.
Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell, and Method Man's rapping over it. And my theory is that either record executives, Lauryn Hill's management, because Lauryn Hill was a successful actress by this time that was guiding her career at some point, or somebody in the realm of this heard that and go, that's what we should be doing. Lauryn has a great voice. Let's do the love and hip hop connection, but do more love with a little less hip hop. And they took Wyclef's band away from him, which also brought on a lot of these negative feelings that came on later, because you notice they didn't come back into the studio after their biggest album.
Yeah, so
but they all got the template to go produce their own albums with this template of love and hip hop type of thing. And trust me, the Fleetwood Macness of it all, I feel for Lauryn Hill, because she's 19. She, for some reason, she falls in love with Wyclef, who's married, and then she's dating somebody else. She gets pregnant. She tells Wyclef it's his without knowing. She just kind of assumes. So he feels hamstrung by her. She feels hurt that he didn't pick her. Praz is sitting there told to get snacks every day because he has nothing to do during the recording of the score, for the most part, because they've taken the band away from him, and they're basically going to say, you guys are going to be Lauryn Hill's backup group. There's just so much interesting into it.
Wow.
And this is before I even get in to the miseducation of Lauryn Hill, which is its own thing. But anybody's thoughts that they possibly took this "You're All I Need" and just decided to make it a template for their future record albums?
Well, I mean, I can't deny there's similarities between like that and I mean, definitely.
There's 3 of these songs on the album, though,
Yeah,
where
yeah,
they're
yeah,
taking where apparently they were listening to stems and stuff, and he had done something for Fat Joe, and they said bring that beat back. But then all of a sudden now they're taking entire melodies from songs, much like this one.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not quite a cover, but I mean, it might.
Oh
as
no,
well
"Killing
be.
Me Softly" is almost a direct cover.
You know, "Killing Me Softly" is, but I mean,
Except for
you're all
saying
that I need is
one
more
time
of like
a
a
couple
sample,
times.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, "Can't Take My Eyes Off You" is absolutely a cover.
Yes.
But But yeah, I didn't know all that stuff about. Like, I wondered why they only had the 2 albums. But I guess
Well,
yeah,
they're
they
all
just kinda,
well. They all got production deals and went into the studio
Yeah.
like soon after to do their own individual thing.
and
All
and
three
then
of
to
them.
me, like Lauren Hill is my hero in a way. Other than the fact that apparently she's not a nice person, but to get in and get out and live off the success that you had in your early 20s for
Well,
the rest of your life.
well, Paul.
What?
There's a reason why Praz was suing her.
Well,
And that's because she was trying to take all the naming rights and stuff so she could make money off it. She put out a video like 10 years later on this streaming service where you could only watch the video 3 times before it deleted.
oh.
She was doing a lot of things with money and stuff like that. So it's one of those things where I just kind of grimace at. But when you get to the miseducation of Lauryn Hill, she is a musical genius. I will not deny that. There's just one problem. She was Icarus flying too close to the sun. Because the miseducation of Lauryn Hill was going to be by Lauryn Hill, doing everything by Lauryn Hill. Lauryn Hill was going to be the only name on this album. And she wasn't going to sample, though. She was going to use live musicians. Now, there's a problem with that. Because if you don't write the music, it's not yours. And she used this crew called New Arc, and she made a deal with them. And then she took all the credit because she thinks, hey, they played a beat I like and I selected it. Therefore, it's actually my vision and I did this. If you read her column on Medium after the Robert Glasper accusations and after the settlement by Newark, which got $5 million after the fact for credit for their work on the thing, she is insane still in so many ways, and she has ceased not to be insane. She's comparing herself to Harriet Tubman. And and even Pitchfork is getting in on the act of defending her. It's like Ms. Hill could not have predicted that this wildly successful album would plunge her into an ugly legal battle about credit and compensation with Newark, the amateur, they stress that, production team she partnered with to make it. Her immense personal drive made it too easy to cast her in the public eye as a megalomaniac intent on hoarding all the accolades for herself. When two people who are used to being fucked over, in parentheses, black men and black women, get together, the collective trauma makes it highly likely that each will feel the other is taking unfair advantage. Now, I might be able to get into this if the Robert Glasper story, which was about a corporate gig for 20 minutes for Lauryn Hill for $500,000. And the day before the gig, she comes in and tells the band that they're all getting their pay cut in half because she's unhappy with how they sound. Without ever saying this beforehand. They had been practicing for a week. Apparently,
Wow.
Newark had told Glasper that when she was on tour for this album, they'd go to Japan, and she was auditioning musicians in Japan to replace the musicians who had signed on a contract for her tour so that she could get them for cheaper and keep more of the money. Now, I get that. But it's not just that. It's she'd show up late. I got tickets to one of her concerts once. She showed up an hour late, and she said that it should be your pleasure that I'm even here. She said this to the
Wow.
audience. And I'm sorry, but I mean, I had spent a good chunk of change on these tickets. And
I once waited
she-
2 hours for Axel. So.
she couldn't play instruments. She wasn't a musician, but she wanted the credit of being a musician. And then it becomes all this spiritual, oh, my energy wasn't at a high, so I have to be late. I have to be this. They're all writing diss tracks about each other, and Pras and Wyclef finally say, you'll never get another Fugees album because we can't stand working with Lauryn Hill. Did any of you bother to listen to the Unplugged of Lauryn Hill?
No.
Where she came? It's bad, and all her songs sound the same. Like she can play 3 notes on a guitar, and that's about it.
So
Like,
you think like a lot of the genius of that album then the production?
Yes.
Okay.
It was production combined with Lauren, who is an awesome singer and an awesome MC. I will say that to my dying day. She is blowing the fellas away on Blunted Reality. To me, I was blown away by her, but I can't get past what a terrible person she is and continues to be. It's not that I mean, look, she was really young when all this happened. And trust me, I understand artists who come from that negative space, who want something to prove and have a chip on their shoulder and all that stuff. But she's never grown out of it. She's Chevy Chase now, Paul. She is bitter and angry and.
So, okay, Seb. Lot to dig into. Now, you conceded already earlier that you found out that she's like not a great person.
Yeah.
Could this be part of what's keeping her out of the Hall of Fame?
I just don't think that she has the body of work.
Yeah, she doesn't have the body of work. I would never say that she's
Fame,
not talented enough, or it would be based on being a scumbag. Otherwise, Eric Clapton wouldn't be in there.
Fair enough. I sometimes the one album can be enough, but I don't know what I'd do if I had a vote. But did you have any thoughts on everything Jeff said? There was a lot to dig in there.
Yeah, you can blame part of her attitude problem on her miseducation, but no, I don't have any counterpoints really, because everything that he's saying are things that I've heard about her. I know that she played Toronto last year, and I think that there were still issues when she came onto the stage. She played like a tiny club and was apparently late for that show, so she's still even to this day
you didn't go.
She's late to every show. That's the thing, and she's not just late to one show. She is an hour late to every show because she feels like she needs her energy to be in the right space and the right time to be able to, and she doesn't, and she's trying to get over her thing of being perceived as a product instead of a person and all these I love that Zeb loves her music. And I can get into what he's saying.
It's more Wyclef, though, isn't it, than her?
Wyclef's by far my favorite part of the band,
really?
but
Right.
but I do appreciate Lauryn Hill a lot.
It's just I can't get past all that stuff enough to sit down and listen to the music, because all I'm thinking of are these stories from friends of mine who are in the service industry and people I've heard who are musicians and stuff like that. While I'm listening, going, "Yeah, this is a really great album. Wish she had treated her musicians better."
My whole thing with this was I went into this thinking she's the female in the Fugees. The Fugees are kind of cool. Let's listen to this album that everyone talked about. And I was blown away by the album. So that's literally like that's all my point of reference. I didn't do the research that you guys did.
Like Prez's lawsuit, which I posted to you guys earlier this morning. Mm-hmm. The fascinating thing about that was the reunion tour. Even Lauryn Hill was like, "No, this ain't no reunion tour. This is a celebration of like the 25th anniversary of the miseducation of Lauryn Hill, and it's going to be Lauryn Hill featuring the Fugees." And they just went, "No,
we're not doing that. We're not doing that." Well, all right. Yeah. Well, okay.
And I don't think Wyclef needs the money by any means, because he's had such a huge career post Fugees. So
he's more well known on his own, I think, at this point, than for being a member of the Fugees, even though that's always going to be a part of his career.
I don't want to harsh Seb's buzz.
Okay, fair enough. All right.
But there's an AMA that Wyclef did on Reddit where they just eviscerate him about setting up a charity and stealing from it.
Oh, well, I hope he learned from that.
I hope so too.
So we took up almost half the show with that. So let's move on. Yeah, I know you did.
We're definitely playing a Lauryn Hill song after this one too.
Okay, yeah.
Doo-wop, that thing.
I was just thinking doo-wop. That's what I was thinking.
That's a fantastic. It is. Let me cleanse myself a little.
1-2 Grammys, isn't it?
Song.
I think it's 1-2 Grammys, right?
Fantastic song.
I think
love
so.
it. Yeah.
So let's do this. Running into famous people, and so like I said, meet famous people. So I mean, it can be just like a meet and greet. I mean. But I was looking for something maybe a little bit more than that. And for me, I've told this story before, but I don't know if I've ever told it to any of you guys. Maybe Seb. So this would have been. Let me just look at. I had the discography of this person built up here. So this would have been around 91, maybe 1990. I went to a bar, and there was so me and my buddy Daryl, who was the best man at my wedding. There's two bars right next to each other. One's like a dance kind of bar that played rock music, and the other one was one that had live bands, and they were right next to each other. So we were at the one, just the kind of dance bar, but that also played rock, and we would go there all the time because they had cheap beer and stuff. And we were there, and then at about 1 a.m. we went next door because Meatloaf was going to be playing. And we got there for the last set. We didn't even have to pay cover. We worked our way to the front of the stage, and we saw the last probably 40 minutes of his act. And I was literally right, almost on the stage. Like I had my hands on the stage. I was right in front of the stage. And when they shut the lights off after the quote unquote last song, I reached over and grabbed a guitar pick that was on the floor. And then they came back and they did the encore. And then afterwards, my buddy, who was a musician, somehow he had contacts. He had toured with a Platters tribute band. So he had a lot of contacts in the industry and stuff. And somehow I think he knew one of the people in Meatloaf's backing band. I don't know how, but long story short, he got us invited into their hotel room that they were partying at after. So we are in the hotel room, and there's women there. There's the band members. No Meatloaf. And we were there till about 4:30. And then all of a sudden there's a knock on the door, and it's Meatloaf. And he says, guys, got to wrap it up. We're on the road in like 3 hours. You got to get going. And I was like, I had a few, and I was like, I said to him, I was like, hey, it's great to meet you, man. I said, I got your guitar pick. I stole it off the stage while you were off the thing. I was like, I'll give it back to you, but I want a tour jacket. and he was like, are you insane? And I was like, no, I'll give you back, but I want a tour jacket. And he's like, how about an autograph? And then I was like, okay, I'll take the autograph. So he writes me an autograph, and it's on the back of like stationery from this hotel. And it says, to Paul, the pick is yours, but the jacket's mine. Meet. And he gives it to me, and I've still got it. It's in my dresser.
Why didn't you save that story to last? Because I don't think anybody's topping.
Well, because I wanted to give you the maybe it won't be top, but it'll be just kind of the thing I was looking for, as opposed to just I paid $25 to see Hart at a meet and greet, which I did, by the way. Cool. and it was cool. Yeah, I got a picture with them. But Seb, what do you got? Because I know you've seen a lot.
Yeah. So mine was more of a premeditated type of thing, but when I was younger, I used to go to the Chum City building where Much Music filmed. This is going to be very Canadian, so Jeff can take off his headphones.
Kind of like TRL Live.
But
I'm good with this.
Okay. So Holly McNarland was playing one day, and just for reference, they had people in basically every day. So we went for a bunch of intermittent interactives and that sort of thing. But they were very particular about letting people inside the actual studio. So this one day, Holly was, my favorite, and I absolutely loved her. And this will only make sense to people who watched Much Music. But I'm at the window, and Bill Walishka, the VJ, was there. I said, hey, can we come in and see Holly? He said, no, sorry, nothing I can do. And just generally not being the nicest guy to a couple of teenagers. So Rick the Temp, Campanelli, runs around the building, which is, it's a famous landmark in Toronto, runs to the front door, says, hey guys, don't worry about it, come in, and he waves us in.
Oh, nice.
So we get to go inside the studio, and we got to watch her play, and you could see us in the background on TV. And then
you sent me a video one time and showed me where you were
quality.
Rick the Temp ended up becoming like a famous like DJ in Canada later on. Cool. And he's kept the name Rick the Temp. But
and I actually bought tickets to a Q&A with him a couple months ago, and it got canceled last minute, which was a bit of a shame. But she signed her yearbooks and signed an autograph, and we took a picture with her. So it was,
nice. And is she from Winnipeg?
She's from Winnipeg.
Yeah, I thought so. That's cool. That's a nice one. And for those that don't know, again, it's the what he's talking about is kind of like TRL Live. It was a daily show they did from the Much Music headquarters, and it was filmed so you could see the street, and there would be fans outside watching the performances, and you could see them in the background. So it's kind of cool. And I think they did something similar to that on TRL Live. I never watched TRL Live, but it sounded the same. Dan, what do you got?
I wasn't sure to whether to tell you about the Reverend Peyton Big Dan Band story, the Al Stewart story, or this other one that I'm going to tell you. So I'll just tell you this other one. Um,
Okay.
I got a buddy that has a music studio here in New Jersey, and he's had some famous people actually play there. Def Leppard, they recorded over there. Def Leppard, Warrant, I think he said Megadeth as well, and probably a whole bunch of other ones. But anyway, he um, he has a band now called Blood Feast, which I actually have an album of, and they're like a hardcore band, and they're very big in Japan. So it's funny. It's when I didn't even know his studio. His studio was called Chateau Bow Wow, I think is what it was called. And I was cracking up when he told me the studio name. I'm like, that's not no big deal, whatever. And you go in there, and you're like, it's like his own bedroom almost. That's what it seemed like. It was actually like a studio house, and he's got his cot set up there and everything like that. And way back, probably about 2002, I played roller hockey with this guy. His name's CJ Sosha, and he he had me record before they were Blood Feast. There was a band that he had called Skull Shifter. So they played in a little coffee house, had me record it, and he wanted to turn that from like the video that I had into like an actual record. So it was like kind of interesting when he did that. And when he brought me into the studio, he's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, so and so and so and so and so and so played here." And then in walks in, oh gosh, what the guy's name is? I can't even remember the guy's name, but one of the guys from Def Leppard walked in, and I
Oh,
was just
okay.
like,
So
yeah, and I was like, what? I'm like, what is? And like, I didn't even realize it at the time, and it's just like, oh, I'm like, okay. And then he just said, "You don't know who that is?" I'm like, "No." I'm like, I didn't even. I'm like, Jesus. We were there all night till like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and this guy showed up like maybe like
so
three
Joe
o'clock.
Elliott, Rick Allen,
I don't
Steve
remember. I
Clark,
think it
Rick
was.
Savage.
I
It was
don't remember which
probably
it was.
Rick Allen,
I
I'm
think it was Rick
guessing.
Allen. Yeah, I think it was Rick
Okay.
Allen. Yeah, but yeah. So
Well, that's
it's
cool.
yeah, it's cool. I mean, it wasn't as interesting as Paul's story though.
Kind of like that. Well, that's more like the Chantel Karviazik one, where like I saw her and I didn't know who she was, and everyone else did. Uh, you know. So what do you got there, Jeff?
In my 20, I mean, I have, numerous individual members of the Dave Matthews Band because I played jazz with a couple
Oh,
of
cool.
them in my first year. Because I still had my chops up, and I was still playing trombone at the time. And they had a jazz club, and Leroy and Boyd Tinsley would both still play there. And Dave Matthews was a bartender at a bar called Miller's in Charlottesville, so you'd run into them all the time. But when I moved out to L.A., I started doing short form improv comedy at a theater. And I ended up doing a children's birthday show because, oddly enough, despite my gruff demeanor, I was great with kids back in my 20s and early 30s. For Gene Simmons and Shannon Tweed's kid.
Oh, wow.
So I got to meet Gene Simmons that way.
That's awesome.
He did not try to sell me anything with Kiss
But
on
Shannon,
it. So
Shannon.
yeah. Shannon still had a bit of her fastball still.
Still kind of does, honestly.
Interestingly enough, I can't name the musician. I'll name him off air.
Okay.
But I also did short form with his ex-wife. And he would be the only one in the audience on Friday nights when I was working the light booth upstairs. For his ex-wife's show, but there was a liquor store down the road, and he would just get hammered every week, sitting almost by himself usually in this audience watching his ex-wife do comedy, and she was very good. It wasn't just one of those I'm doing an acting thing. She had real talent. But unfortunately, one night when they were getting notes in the back, he decided he was a little aroused, so he decided to relieve himself in the dressing room.
Oh my goodness.
Using one of the costumes back there, which is why I'm not going to reveal his name on air.
That's a good idea.
But I will tell you this off the air with pleasure. But he's fairly famous in alternative circles, so it's one of those things where it's like I wasn't a fan, so I didn't know who he was.
Stick around for Music Nerds After Dark.
Wait, you met this person and you didn't know who it was? I go, no, I never listened to that kind of stuff when I was a kid. I wasn't ever cool. I was listening to terrestrial radio all the time. But those, the occasional meet and greet and stuff. But those are my two, like, social interactions.
Jeff and I have both done stand-up. So we've probably done stand-up with a few people that were famous.
And there were musicians in the crowd when I did stuff like that, but I never
had musicians in the crowd, but I I think the most famous ones, and you've probably got way more than me, but
Oh,
I
yeah.
had Rosie O'Donnell. I opened for her, Jimmy Walker, and then Bill Maher, who is such an
Bill
asshole.
Maher.
Oh, yeah.
He
Maher's a jerk.
got my friend Daryl, who I mentioned earlier, and he threatened to have us removed from ever performing again if we opened for him the rest of the week that he was on after we were on the first time, and we killed it. But he had a hard time following us because I don't know. Like, I'm not saying we're better than him, we're not even close, but and Emo Phillips watched me perform and then stole one of my jokes. Um, so okay, so we got through that. That was cool. And then what was the other? Oh, I was going to talk about my So I sent you guys these links. I don't expect you to listen to them, but if you had any thoughts on any of them, this was my 19. I'm into 1975 now for my album listening. And what did I start with this week? I had
Olivia Newton-John, I thought.
no, it's not the first one.
Yeah, I saw that
Average
one.
White Band. Average White Band.
that's
Because
right.
we talked about
Yeah.
that last week.
Right.
Yeah. And so I did that one. That was fine. That's probably like Pick Up the Pieces might be the first disco song I heard, I think, if you'd call that disco. So I'm expecting to get a lot more disco as we go through these. And then Blood on the Tracks by Dylan, which I know that's a big a very well lauded album, but I didn't really. I love the opening track, and then everything else just kind of And then Living in John's one of my favorites. It was Have You Never Been Mellow. The opening track and the closing track are both great, and then she does a cover of what's the cover that she did on here? The Air That I Breathe by the Hollies. Yeah, that was all right.
Is that what led us to our conversation about the most covered songs? Is that how we got into that? I don't remember.
No,
but it was my thing of listening to the Mighty Quinn, which oddly enough, one of my favorite covers of that was the Hollies. They do this weird ragtime cover of the Mighty Quinn.
I'm partial to the Dylan version, but I do like the Manfred Mann version as well.
I love the Manfred Mann version because I like the toms on it. I'm
fair enough.
Very tom heavy on the drums.
Then I got Physical Graffiti, Led Zeppelin, which I've heard I think it's like the fourth or fifth Zeppelin one, and I mean it was good, but it probably my least favorite of all the ones I've listened to so far. And Chicago 8, which is very different from their previous albums, way more rock. Yeah. There's a track on here that I mentioned to you guys in the chat, Hideaway, which I mean that to me was almost like a Ted Nugent song, and I did some research on it.
I had never heard the Chicago album. I consider myself a Chicago fan, especially a Terry Kath, and I think you're dead on that assessment.
Okay. Well, I Googled it, and that's why it's compared to Ted Nugent, because of the Terry Kath, his guitar playing is similar to the way Ted Nugent plays. I looked to see if they had the same producers or anything, and they didn't. Satara is the vocalist on it, but it wasn't the vocals. It was the guitar playing. And I was I've actually been listening to, I have it on the turntable right now at Ted Nugent album. I think it's Free For All. Which he basically, it's almost like a duet with Meatloaf, the whole album. It was him and Meatloaf on the album, and I love it. It's one of those ones that just showed up in my house, and I don't know how, but I like the album. And then I had today's was That's the Way of the World by Earth, Wind and Fire, which has a few songs on there that you would probably call disco songs. The only one that I knew was Shining Star, but Africano, I really dug that song. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with Earth, Wind and Fire music, but Africano, I thought that was just a really bopping tune.
You haven't heard Reasons?
I don't think so. It didn't sound familiar.
Okay, that's interesting. Or The Way of the World?
No, I said it's just starting to, but it was all good.
I'm just wondering if Earth, Wind and Fire made its way to Canada at any point. Because
Shining Star did, I guess.
Shining Star. Everybody. I mean,
but I mean, and they've got a few other songs I like. I think my favorite one. I think I may have mentioned this last week was it's that slower one. Trying to blank on what it was called, but we mentioned the title of it. I got it. I'll get it up right here in a second.
It's the one that the guy from Chicago wrote, After the Love Is Gone, right?
That's the one. Yeah, After the Love Is Gone. I love it. Absolutely love it.
I will tell you all that if you decide to watch the Questlove HBO documentary on Earth, Wind and Fire, it's well worth your time, and I think it's actually Questlove's best documentary.
Really?
Because the thing about Questlove is he tends to shy away from the warts of the subjects that he's covering because it's a lot of hero worship type of thing. But on this one, he really gets into Maurice White's infidelity and how his spiritualness kind of led to him not being the best family man in the world, and he talks to his kids. But it's really it gives such a great overview of like how much money they were spending on some of these shows, because that's one of the reasons why they broke up originally, or Maurice White broke them up, is like, I am spending too much money on these tours, because he's big into, like, they did a show with Parliament Funkadelic, and he saw the spaceship, and he goes, I want that for Earth, Wind, and Fire. So they were hiring like an illusionist to do illusions with members of the band and stuff like that, and during their stage shows and things like that. It is a fascinating 2-hour watch, and it's well worth your time.
And where is that?
HBO Max.
HBO Max. Okay, so in Canada, we probably would get it on Crave, I would think. So did any of other than our homework, anybody else listen to anything interesting this week?
Boy. Not really. I mean, it was just the most of the homework stuff. I mean, I was trying to go back to my records and try to listen to a few things back there, and then some stuff on Spotify. But it wasn't anything like nothing intrigued me. Like I was just like, not this week. It was, I guess one of the maybe my workout playlist was like really like we covered out last time.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to remember what I listened to. I've got to pull up my Spotify now because I don't even remember what I listened to last on here. But every week I try to get at least one thing while I'm on a treadmill there, and I came back and said, oh, let me see if I can get this on here. I know it was, and I did it twice because I listened to the Wyclef album while I was on the treadmill, but the other one I think what I was getting out of there was oh boy, Speaker Box, the Love Below.
Oh yeah, Outcast.
Yeah. And yeah, that was what I did, and I was like, "Oh,
that's
okay,
that's a good one. I love
long.
that album.
It's long. It was very long. I was very surprised at how long it was. Like,
that's another one that maybe we'll dive into at some point, because it's one that people look at as some big monumental album, and maybe we'll dissect it. And anything interesting for you, Seb?
Yeah, I did. Also, today's my daughter's.
Yeah, happy birthday to Scarlett. Yeah.
Yeah, I need to say that or else she'll be mad.
It was my son's birthday yesterday, 35.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. 13 and 30. Oh,
and she made her, or no, is your other daughter that made her podcast debut this week?
She did. Yeah. Naomi made her podcast debut, so she picked a bunch of songs. And that's actually what I've been listening to, is a lot of Spice Girls. I'm going to see Sporty Spice. Hopefully she's not watching this one, but I'm going to see Sporty Spice next month. So I've been listening to just a ton of Spice Girls.
That reminds me, I found out yesterday, because everybody was over for my son's birthday, and my grandson, who is 10, I think he's gonna be 11 next month. He's a big Weird Al fan, which I had no idea.
I love Weird Al. I saw him live in person. He's so awesome.
He's coming to Winnipeg.
Twice.
He's coming to Winnipeg on August 30th, which is actually a Sunday. So if I do decide to go, which I think I'm gonna, I may have to make
opening for
plans.
him on this one.
No idea.
Okay.
But I was gonna, because his birthday is on September 13th. I hope I have that right. And so we're gonna buy tickets for him and his dad and me to go to that concert together. So yeah,
very cool.
It's pricey, but he'll enjoy it.
I still defend the Spice Girls, by the way.
I love the Spice Girls.
I think it's pure cheese pop, but it's really good cheese pop. I think they do some solid stuff.
There's some really great songs on those first couple albums.
Yes.
So did you find anything listening to them that you kind of discovered that you didn't know before?
No, because I was listening with my daughter, and we go through. She likes all the hits, but she likes to try and find some other stuff as well.
Well, she played one that I didn't know.
Oh, Love Thing?
Yeah.
We listen to that one all the time. She's like jamming out, and she knows she's the type of kid who looks up the lyrics as she's listening to the songs as well. So she's like, she'll just throw on a song, and now she's gotten into MJ as well. So she just earlier she started playing Billie Jean and started singing all the lyrics, and I was like, I don't even know who you are, kid. But
I mean, you were 2 when that came out, right? So that's a little before her time. Well, I remember when my grandson was, he was like 4. He walks into the room while I was watching videos for some reason, and Don't Worry Be Happy comes on, and he's stopping and he's watching that video, and then he's like, he says, Papa, because that's what he calls me. He's like, I think that if your rent is late and they're taking away your bed, I think you do need to worry and you shouldn't be happy. And he's like, he's paying attention. Yeah. Landlord say your rent is late. And he's like, and somebody came and took your bed. He's like totally listening and loved it. Yeah. Anything interesting you listen to, Jeff?
I'm gonna
Other
show
than the
how
homework?
uncool I am. I listened to Duke Ellington in Newport, 1965, because it's also going to be subject. There's a homework question I'm kind of working on.
That's so is
That I'm
that's the
putting in
same year that they kicked out Dylan, isn't it?
Or
From
I'm
that-
sorry, 1956, not.
Oh, okay, that's before
1965.
Dylan. Okay,
No,
yeah,
no, it's a little
1965
bit before.
Newport
It's-
is.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
no, it's a little bit before Dylan. This
Okay.
is 1956, and
Duke
it has
Ellington.
it has a tremendous story to it, but I don't want to.
Is that so?
Ruin
That's
it.
an album.
Yeah, no, it's a live album recorded at the Newport Jazz Festival.
Cool.
Well, hell, I'll tell it now, and
Yeah, we got a couple
if I
minutes.
decide to think.
Yeah.
So, Duke Ellington's way past their prime at this point. He had actually emceed this jazz festival the year previous, and he's like, "Well, how about we just play?" And the guy, this was a rich dude in the Hamptons who had organized this thing to try and keep the preservation of jazz. And he's like, you guys are too big, whatever. No, we'll come play it. Well, so they booked Duke Ellington and his orchestra, and they're set to play. And at the time that they were originally scheduled to play, four of the band members just don't show up. They're probably drinking or getting strung out on heroin somewhere, because this is what they were doing at the time. I mean, I'm not trashing them. I'm just saying, hey, we're in the midst of the rock and roll boom. Jazz is kind of a passé thing. These guys are just trying to hang on to a music career as long as they can, and they're probably self-medicating a lot. But it's a disaster, and so Duke Ellington's going to the producer and going, look, just give us another chance. We'll get this together, whatever. Guy relents. So around 11 o'clock, 11:30 at night, they come back on with a full band. And it's late. And they're playing. And they're having a good set and stuff like that. But, people are getting tired. They're starting to leave. And around midnight, maybe shortly after midnight, they decide they're going to play their hit, or one of the songs that they that people knew from 1937. I think it's called Diminuendo and Crescendo in Blue. And for some reason, the stars aligned then, and there's a saxophonist by the name of Paul Gonsalves. And about 4 minutes in, he starts his solo, and he's playing it. And he continues to play it, and you can feel the rhythm section kind of feeling something in there. And then a young, hot blonde in a black cocktail dress decides to start jitterbugging. And the band starts to feel it. Gonsalves starts to feel it. Now, this has already started off bad for him because there's 2 microphones up there. One goes to Voice of America radio network. One goes to the record company's microphone who's recording it. He goes to the wrong microphone.
Oh, jeez.
But they eventually get both recordings and are able to do this. But this woman starts jitterbugging. And so others in the crowd begin to start dancing as well. And the people that are still there start going up towards the stage to also get in on this. And Gonsalves is still wailing. He's not necessarily a great saxophone player, but this is a great thing. People who have left to go to their cars start coming back due to the entire commotion. You can hear it on the audio. It's the coolest thing. This solo lasts, I believe, 128 stanzas.
Wow.
Like the usual was like 12, but he's going. The rhythm section is in a frenzy right
It's
now.
like 15 minutes.
Well, no, it's like 8 minutes or 8.
Oh, okay.
It's like an 8
yeah,
minute
my
solo
math's
or
a
something
lot.
like
Okay.
that. But but Ellington's feeling it too. And the producer's starting to get worried because it's like, oh, are we going to have a riot on our hands? And Ellington's saying, stay back. We got this type of thing. Gonzalez is still like, go, and you can just hear the roar of the crowd. And the rest of the show is absolutely hot. But it's
Wow.
like, it just made me think, I was thinking of, live performances or what's the best live performances you can think of, etc. And I have a list of like, I was going to say 5 that I'm going for. I'm going through them and trying to find different ones. But it's one of my favorite stories in music is just this past their prime jazz group all of a sudden becomes the hottest thing in music for one night because a woman just randomly decided, and she had probably had a few. They'd been imbibing a bit, but it's like one woman starts dancing and it becomes this, and the album was a huge seller based on this story of how hot the band was.
I just looked it up while you were talking. It was like number 14. And this is like during a time when rock is exploding, and some jazz album, live jazz album from somebody 25 years past their prime is number 1, maybe 20 years.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite stories.
That's crazy. That's and that tells you. And I was telling this story actually on a different podcast I was doing that had nothing to do with music, but it's pertinent to what you're talking about, because we were talking about and we're all wrestling fans, so I compared it to this crowd that was at the AEW Dynamite show that we all watched, or maybe only me and you, Jeff, watched it. I don't know. But anyways, the crowd was awesome. And to me, the crowd fed into the performers, who then fed into the crowd, who then fed into the performers, and it builds off each other. And you and I have both done a little bit of live performing. And I can speak from experience that when the crowd is hot, you become better. And then when you become better, the crowd gets even hotter. And then you become better, and go so on and so on. And and actually I got a funny story that I don't have time to tell, but some other time I'll tell it. That speaks to that. So we're almost out of time, but Dan, it's your duty, and you said you had an idea to give us some homework for this coming week.
Easy idea. Listen to something post 2020 that was released, an album that was released. Can't be a remaster, can't be a best of. Any artist, anything. If it's an older artist that released something post 2020 album, go ahead and listen to that. If it's a newer artist, go ahead and listen to that. And then bring
I'm going to cheat and pick something I know is great.
Can I ask a question?
Go for
is there a significant? Is this a post-COVID thing, or was 2020 just a random? Just an
I just felt 2020 was just random, not a post-COVID thing. Yeah,
like basically the current decade.
Yeah, the current decade. Yeah,
because we mostly talk about old stuff, right? So,
I was overthinking the question way too much. Is there something about 2020 that he thinks is special?
I actually got to double check and make sure the album I want to listen to is post 2020, but I think it is. Sometimes, and Seb can speak to this. Sometimes you think something is like 2 years ago, and then you look it up. Oh, that was 14 years ago.
Yes.
We only have one homework assignment this week.
Yeah, that's actually me and the miseducation of Lauryn Hill. I thought it was like 2007 or something, which is still 20 years ago. Oh, 1997. I go, my God, I'm old.
Well, when I found out Pink was releasing music in 1999, I was like, are you kidding me?
Isn't that when I'm Coming Out came out?
What, by Diana Ross?
No. The Get the Party Started.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Get the Party Started.
Get the Party Started.
You're right.
I think that was 2000.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So
that could be. Yeah. Because her early stuff was very much like that late '90s like girl group R&B.
Mm-hmm.
It was weird. Okay. And then if we and maybe also put this in the back of your head. It's not really homework or anything, but maybe if we have time next week, we'll talk about some of the best live concerts we've seen, because that just reminded me of. Thought of that when Jeff was telling his story about Duke Ellington. So
I think we've done best concerts we've seen, though, haven't we?
We did best openers. We did best.
Yeah, I know. I'm talking concerts.
Okay.
Yeah, we definitely haven't done that. So
Got it.
Okay, so that's gonna wrap it up. For Jeff, for Dirty Dan, for Seb, I've been Paul, and this has been the Music Nerds. Later, everybody.